Greetings and welcome to Talk to Me America, where the world wants to know what you have to say, so call me and tell them like it is. Of course, I started everything didn't want to mute this time. Why don't these things automatically mute? They do know that we're trying to broadcast and monitor at the same time. Before I get any farther, let me know if you guys can hear me. Welcome, Bruin Backhand. I'm doing very well. I'm glad that you're doing well as well. I hope you had a Merry Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate at this time of the year. Blamo, I'm here. Limited access. All right. Thank you for being here tonight on this New Year's Eve show. I picked a good night to have a show because it's like not when everybody's doing everything else. So if you get really bored, you can come see boring old me. All right. Am I 5x5? Because the only ones I ever have any trouble with, no audio again. Okay. What is it with Odysee? Resetting stream now. Okay, how about now? Hello, Zoot Suit Cooter. Welcome to the show. Hope you had a very wonderful holiday. A Merry Christmas. I'm waiting to make sure that Odysee's working. Nice. Got the stream reset lag. Nothing. Still not 5x5. No sound here either. Also, it isn't loading on my Roku. 5. Now I'm getting it. In fact, I just had to mute it again. Okay, I did a stream reset. Do I need to do it again? Where is Yvonne when you need him? All right, please stand by. Technical difficulties. I'm going to do it one more time. 5x5 and on my Roku. No. Okay, Spiced Cowboy. Good. I'm not resetting it again unless Pastor Shadley tells me he can't hear it now. Space Cowboy, welcome to the show. Welcome. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Oh, goody. What do you know? It works today. Everything's working today. All right. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you for the library coin, by the way, also to Pastor Chatelet. I'll do my shout outs here in just a minute. Greetings and welcome to Talk to Me America show, where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call me in a few minutes and tell them like it is. Please share. Okay, the only other one I want to make sure of is Rumble. Rumble seems to be working, and I heard it blaring at me a minute ago. If you were listening to the intro, it was playing 3 times, and it was playing 3 times all at once with the delay and everything like this. Like, man, why isn't that automatic? You know we're monitoring it. Why don't you turn the mute off? Although Odysee has a nice tendency occasionally to to buffer for a minute and then reset itself, and then all of a sudden the sound comes on again. So, and it scares me to death here because it's like, oh no, what did I do? I didn't touch anything. All right, Toasty Skeletor, welcome to the show. F you, dude. Fud. Hit that fire or you're a liar. Okay. Here you go. Some fire. I wouldn't lie to you on purpose. Okay. All right. I'm ldghwih, your hostess. Now that everything's working properly again, it gets me off kilter when things don't work properly and I have to go back and do it again. Of course, like I say, you know, I'm ldghwih, your hostess. Thank you for clicking on my little acre of the internet today. Please, if you'd like to support the channel, you know how. even if it's just a share, tweet me out, whatever, and like that. In fact, I'll talk about my very first troll on Twitter. I've only been on Twitter for 2 weeks, and I've already got a troll. He's kind of a weird troll too, so but I'll tell you about that in a minute. Let's see. Sparky the Welder, welcome to the show. Russian Bot, welcome to the show. All right, the Pond, are you simulcasting me for the time being there, Pastor? Am I on the Pond? If so, hello, Pond members, Pond people. Ribbit, ree, as they say, as we say. Yes. Oh, Lord Slade. So good to see you. And Vincenzo says, hey, yo. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You love the new blue glue glasses. Very attractive on you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I like to wear different glasses all the time, actually. If you've never noticed, go through my videos. I'm pretty much wearing different glasses all the time. Even Vincenzo wears different sunglasses each time. That's my thing. I love glasses. In fact, now that you mention it, my old man actually bought these for me because he needed some too, and we happened to be out shopping. They had a good deal on them. But yeah, there's my glasses, guys. Actually, some of them are in there because I can't really afford to go to the eye doctor. God, I sent my old man to the eye doctor and it cost over $1,000 plus glasses. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. But they sold him on 2 pairs instead of 1 and all this other, and I'm thinking to myself, and the thing is he still wears the dollar store glasses. But some of the dollar store glasses give me a headache. So some of them are just there for fun. Or I might donate them to someone else, but I would actually hate to make somebody else get a headache like that. From shitty glasses. Hey, don't forget also too, I'm an actor. I do these skits and everything like that too, but glasses are kind of my shtick. Plus, since I need a little bit of magnification at my age, you know, why not? Why not? They're cheap and they're cool for shows and stuff like that. Plus also too, the blue light, the blue blockers, most of them are blue blockers as well, and that helps a lot. If I sit here without glasses on, and because I don't have to have glasses per se, unless I'm having a bad day, of course. But if I sit here without blue blockers on all day working on videos and stuff like that, by the end of the day, I go to bed and I'm almost blind. All I can see is gray. It's weird. It's weird. So the blue blockers help a lot. In fact, I noticed that Salty doesn't wear his very often anymore. I wonder if they broke or something, because I know he's on the computer a lot. Let's see, am I missing anybody? Oh, Rocky. Well, thank you, Sai. Thank you. Everybody loves the glasses. I like them too. They're cute. I like them because the frame doesn't go all the way around them. They're unique. All right. Let's see. Hello, Hallie. How are you doing? One pair of broken tape blue blockers. Actually, one of the places I find a lot of my blue blockers is in the you know, when they got you in the line to go check out in like Burlington or Ross, they always have a whole bunch of packages there. I've also seen them at Joann's Fabrics, I think. And they're all over Walmart. They're really popular now, so you got to be careful. But we got to be careful not to get too cheap of ones. They actually started out as yellow glasses. They used to be my favorite glasses, the yellow glasses. And I wore those out. I wear them out a lot. Well, I'm on the computer a lot. Doing all of this stuff for y'all. Thank you, Lord Slade. Sparky the Welder. See the different pair of glasses I got there in the picture there. Semi-frames, yes. Okay, but I didn't come here to talk about my glasses, but thank you, everyone. Hope you guys all had a Merry, Merry Christmas. It was a good Christmas for me. I mean, it was kind of course, we celebrate Christ every day, so Christmas is just another day. Yes, happy birthday, Jesus. But at the same token, I actually had to work on Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, everybody was going somewhere else. So we ended up actually going to have some all-you-can-eat crab legs at a Japanese restaurant. The only restaurant that was open, like, for miles and miles and miles. But it was awesome. It was awesome. I love snow crab legs, so that was good. So I had a good Christmas. I got everything I wanted for Christmas. Food in my belly and a roof over my head and a job still. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right, plugs, my plugs. Of course, 451 Actual, you know, he's got a show coming up, season 2 show coming up, and from what I can tell, he's going to go and do one of his famous 24-hour shows, so make sure you join him. I believe that's New Year's Day. Pastor Chatelet, as always, with the pond, 24/7. You can always check somebody out over there. There's always something happening over there where everybody knows your name. No, wait, that's somewhere else, isn't it? All right, Red Dawn Radio, DJ Brandrak, The Drunken Rocky. Don't forget to go and check out the White Pill Experience after my show tonight. After I'm finished my show tonight. He starts at 9 Central, I believe. Ray Noth, of course, Tuesdays and Saturdays, and every weekday with a 5x5 at 5 or something or other like that, doing all kinds of good stuff, getting the truth out there. And, of course, all of these people are purebloods. I am actually broadcasting on all 3, Rumble, YouTube, and Odysee tonight. Thank goodness. That was actually some of the growth this year. That's actually what I'm going to go over, some of my favorite stuff and a few things that I found new. And of course, in the spirit of freedom of speech, I'm going to be talking about that new Stanford language standard, which they can pretty much roll up all the way tight as they can and shove it right up their asses. But we'll go over that in a minute. Axe Truth, DJ Based, Kevin at Chaotic Coffee with Kevin. I saw him here earlier. Thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I actually haven't had time to send it to you, but I've actually found another person that you might be interested in checking out. Someone that is truthical about your situation. And of course, don't forget, he did an interview with me. He was gracious enough to do an interview with me and get very deep and personal, and show videos of his own that were very deep and personal. Which, like I say, to me, I think that's the bravest thing on the world. Because, you know, what can I tell you? Especially with what's going on now. So make sure you check that out. That was 2 or 3 shows ago. I make sure I put everything uncut. When I do live, and it goes back up just like I did it. Because I don't have the time nor the inclination or any kind of agenda. That's the whole point of First Amendment. Okay. Super Trucker is here. Thank you for being here. 2 minutes to midnight, Magical Trevor, Reverend Rant. He's on Sunday. Some guy from Maine who's actually on right now. And don't forget... apologize if I'm forgetting anybody. These are the people that I pay attention to and have the time to pay attention to most of the time, other than some of the people on YouTube. But don't forget about the man with the plan. Let's see, where am I now? All the buttons, so many buttons, so many buttons, so many buttons. Here we go. Ta-da! All right, the man with the plan, Rougarou. With the, of course, the schedule, if you will, of all of the purebloods that are out there doing live feeds, doing shows, making people laugh, keeping people off the black pill, I guess you could say, as far as that goes. I'm sharing the link with everyone on all 3 platforms. Thank you, thank you. I forgot Titty Pussy. Oh, I'm so sorry, Titty Pussy. I thought she moved away. I haven't heard anybody talk about her in a long time. All right. All right. I'm hoping I'm not missing anyone. Trying to keep up with the chat. You guys are so fast, especially on Odysee. All right. Stanford University. Yes, ma'am. All right. Let's see, where was I? Okay. Don't forget, support me. Support the people on this list here. In fact, this, like I say, this is your interactive. I show it every week because it's worthy of it. Not to mention the fact, like I say, if you don't show it to people, you don't tell people about it, they won't know about it. And like as if you get bored and your favorite person's not on there, something, you can actually go on this list and go discover something like, oh, hey, this person is on right now and I'm bored and I've got time. Click and actually you can actually, when you click on the links within the guide, it takes you directly to that person's show or channel, wherever they're at. So support the cause of truth, y'all. Of course, don't forget my new ways to support me. I'm on Cash App. All right, donations. I have a PayPal, I have a Ko-Fi, I have a Cash App, and you can super chat me in Odysee or Rumble if you'd like to see the show continue. Actually, see the show continue is going to be fine. Now I need to start growing a little bit more. I'm trying. Let's see where I was. Okay, also too, like I say, hope you guys will get me your stingers and your clips for my show or for your show so that I can incorporate them in the show. Little break in between my rants. I know I can ramble on quite a bit too. I think that's the reason why I like 451 Actual so much. We're kind of like kindred spirits in a way, because we could talk forever about a subject that we're adamant about or that we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to show you what I mean about commercials. I did this one. I'm going to do another one. This one's a little long, but it gets the point across, and it's actually, believe it or not, even more true now. And I wrote this and recorded this, what does it say? Almost a year ago now, I think. No, about 6 months ago, maybe. I don't remember. It all has gone by in such a flash. That's what we're going to talk about. But here's my commercial.
Hey, yo, come here. Looking for some simple straight talk with conversations that don't get censored? Well, look no further. I got what you need. I'm Vincenzo Marinera, official spokesperson for Talk to Me America live call-in talk show, Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time on the YouTubes and the Odysee. And a true believer in our rights to say and do what we want, as long as we ain't hurting nobody, right? Hey, yo! Did yous know that platforms like the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Twitter actually work with the United States government right now to shut yous people up? Hey, yo, that goes against the First Amendment! Your right given to you by the Almighty to say as you please, worship as you please, and associate as you please. Hey, yo! Allow me to introduce you to ldghwih, a no-nonsense, tell-it-like-it-is old rocker chick who's not very happy about being shut up by folks that don't know nothing about nothing. Hey, yo! She'll show you some cool stuff. She'll check out and share some news articles that are important to the public. You'll get her opinion on things that are happening, and she'll take your phone calls and let you get your 2 cents out into the universe too. Hey, yo! LDG knows that everyone needs to get their voices out there, but can't do the creator thing where you do live shows, entertaining and informative videos. But everyone can make a phone call, and she believes that if you don't use your rights, we're all gonna lose them. Hey, yo! And that don't fly with this guy. Hey, yo! So make sure to tune in and call in to Here's What I Heard. Hey, yo! Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and 5% avocado. I don't know, that's what it says there. What do you want? Hey, yo! Hey, yo! So yeah, Talk to Me America, where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call in and tell them like it is. It's your God-given right. Hey, yo!
Here's what I heard with ldghwih on Odysee and You Tube every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central.
Call in and talk to ldghwih live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Talk to Me America, where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call in and tell them what it is. Result may error. No Italians or smartphones were harmed in making this commercial.
No Italians or smartphones were harmed in the making of this commercial. Oh, well, that's a good thing. You guys like Vincenzo. I'm glad you like Vincenzo. I'm planning on doing more things with Vincenzo. He was busy taking care of family business over the holidays, so he wasn't available. In fact, I tried to get him to host the show tonight because I was so tired. This has been a hell of a year, and the last couple months of it have been even worse. So I just, all right. I'm going to open the phone lines now. Even if you just want to tell the world Happy New Year, give us a call. That's what this show is all about. The First Amendment. The First Amendment. The freedom of speech. The press. Religion. And association. And a few other things. All right. Now, I've heard everybody arguing since Thanksgiving about this movie being a Christmas movie. And it's really weird because it's like, man, I really do wish it was, this one's actually sillier than the toilet paper debacle. Oh, it has to be over. No, it has to be under. No, it has to be over. Even the patents shows that it's over. If you look at the patents on it, the drawing on the patents from, what is it, 17, whenever they came in with the water closets or whatever. Put it this way, I don't give a shit which way you put it as long as it's there when I need it. But this comes from the horse's mouth. Ready?
I did this roast for one reason and for one reason only. To settle something once and for all. Now please listen very carefully. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. I did this roast
from the man himself. That should actually excuse me, that should actually cease that argument right there. I mean, he should know. If anybody would know, he should know. All right. Okay, we going over. You gonna argue with him? All right. Bruce Willis. Hey, yo. You knew guys like that? Yeah, I did too. Actually, the name came from a conglomeration of a few things. And I've known guys like that. I've seen the movies. In fact, one of the inspirations is Danny Zuko on Grease. Kind of. All right. All right. Time to get serious for a minute. And then I'm going to show you a whole bunch of funny stuff and other things that came across my feed that just stuck with me. All right. And of course, filling time and making people laugh. It's a good time. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to be upset about. But we're still breathing. We still seeing each other on the computers and everything like that here. Not a lot has changed for a lot of us as far as that goes. There's still tons to be thankful for, even just if you're just alive in my aspect of it. So, real quick, or maybe not so quick, 13 pages from Stanford University. I thought Stanford was in the East Coast. Of course, I went to University of Phoenix online. So I have no idea where any of these fucking colleges are. I just imagined all of the Ivy Leagues were out on the East Coast, because that's where, that's where a lot of our Washington people, and that's what I thought that was. It's a network for, it seems like it's a network for people that work in Washington, or Mohap, of course. Let's see. If Mel Gibson comes in and tries to tell me Lethal Weapon is not a Christmas movie, I'll accuse him of being a Jew hater. That's right, I went there. Wasn't that already one of his problems? Or something like that? Is that the joke? Okay. Bullshit, Bruce, that's the aphasia kicking in. You don't know what you're saying. Okay. Hey, man. From the horse's mouth, that's all I'm saying. Danny's just asking Hallie. What did Hallie say? Oh, the character is hilarious. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like Vincenzo. Like I say, I'm gonna be hiring. He ain't cheap, but I'll be hiring him for a couple of things next month, and I'm hoping to get him to host the show. I do know that 451 Actual wants to interview him. I don't know how well that's gonna go, but we'll see. I'm an actor. I'm not a method actor. I'm just an actor. Muko, welcome to the show. Cute little kitty. It looks like my little kitty, just a little bit. He would act that way. Oh, that's hilarious. Eye of the Pfizer. Yep, that's terrible. But they fell for it. What can I tell you? All you can do is feel sorry for them and, love them and tell them, hey, man, things can only get better. Just don't keep believing in the government. That's all. All right. The Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative. Here we go with, this is going to be our version, I guess you could say, of Newspeak. I mean, I am literally recognizing just about everything I've ever seen and a little bit more than in 1984, both the movie and the books. This is craziness. The Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative, EHLI, which doesn't roll off your tongue at all, is a multi-phase, multi-year project to address harmful language in IT at Stanford. Now, I'm actually in IT. That was one of the things that I got a degree in was IT management. We don't give a fuck. As long as you tell us what the problem is and we can fix it, this is crap. So they're pushing this as a standard now because IT actually, to me, from what I can tell, is one of the things that still has any kind of standards as far as that goes. Although I'm noticing that's going by the wayside too. When we learned about it, it was still HTML and there was standards that you had to, that you should, user friendliness and that kind of stuff on your websites and on your databases and all that other stuff. And it's like not that anymore, especially if it's going through the government. Holy crap. The goal, they tell you the goal and everything. The goal of Elimination of Harmful Language Initiative is to eliminate many forms of harmful language, including racist violence and bias, e.g., disability bias, ethnic slurs, gender bias, implicit bias, sexual bias, language in Stanford websites and codes. They might as well just said any bias other than, I'm not even real sure. That literally leaves out white men pretty much once again. So the purpose of this website is to educate people about the possible impacts of words we use. Here's another ambiguous word that they have zero idea whether or not it's going to actually do anything. This is the reason they put these ideas in your head with these ambiguous words like may, could, might, possible, and things like that, and then they try to pass it off as, see, this is the truth, and it's never that. It's never that. I don't think so, Pastor Chatelet. I didn't read it all the way through. I think that's a given, but we'll see. I'm going to go through this list. It's quite a long list. Let's see. We also are not attempting to address all informal uses of language. Bullshit. 13 freaking pages, and I'll show you. Most of it is ridiculous because of the fact that they give you a word that you shouldn't say, and then they tell you to say the definition of that word. You'll see. The website focuses on potentially harmful terms used in the United States. Notice nowhere else, only the United States, starting with the list of everyday language and terminology. Our suggested alternatives are in line with those used by peer institutions and within the technology community. Yeah, right. Tell me another one. Content, and of course they give you, it's not trigger warning anymore according to this. Content warning. This website contains language that is offensive or harmful. Please engage with this website at your own pace. At your own pace. What does that even mean? I can't go any faster than I can go. So this is stupid already. Millennials triggered by, can we do the George Carlin words? I don't think that those are part in here. The first one goes to ableist. God forbid there's nothing wrong with you. In fact, this is how weird it's gotten. There's something wrong with you if there's nothing wrong with you. Ableist. It's amazing that they did this first. Ableist language is language that is offensive to people who live with disabilities and or devalues people who live with disabilities. The unintentional use of such terms furthers the belief that people who live with disabilities are abnormal. Really? So they're telling us that this is how it is. How many people with disabilities have you talked to? Most of them will joke about it. I've known plenty. In fact, I worked with disabled people for a really long time in one of the companies that I did IT work in. Which, again, instead of using the word addict, consider using person with a substance use disorder. Context. Using first-person language helps to not define people by just one of their characteristics. You mean like most of them go around doing all the while now anyway, especially if they're LGBTQ? I'm sorry, you're an addict. And what happened to the fact that it was a disease? Addicted, hooked, or devoted? Oh, I'm so devoted to this cocaine. I'm so devoted to this cocaine or this meth. Can't you tell? I'm missing teeth. I'm so devoted. What the fuck? Hooked is good. Of course, they're going to turn around and say, well, that would be against hookers or something like that. Basket case. Instead of using the word basket case, nervous. Originally referred to as one who has lost all 4 limbs and therefore needed to be carried around in a basket. What, in the 1400s? Come on. Oh, okay. The addicted thing trivializes the experiences of people who deal with substance abuse issues. No, it doesn't. It tells everybody exactly what's going on. You have a problem. You're addicted to this shit. That's the reason why people go into counseling, and that's the first thing that they have to say. You can't fix it if you don't name it, if you don't tell, if you don't admit that that's the problem in the first place. I think a lot of these people want these people to stay that way. They don't want people to get better. All inclusive. I include everybody in my mocking and shaming. I'm with you, Skeletor. That's the reason why. And of course, like I say, this is my show. This is what I do. I talk about freedom of speech. Taking a lot of these words away from people and saying, oh, you can't say that anymore is not freedom of speech anymore. The thing about it is you got freedom of speech, then you have the ability to know somebody that you want to stay away from. Association. That's why it goes together. I hate the fact that people are stifled around me and then all of a sudden they show their true colors and you're slapped in the face with it with no recourse, no warning, no nothing. Screw that. Screw that. That's a part of... I feel like that's a part of the Second Amendment right there. You can defend yourself by staying the fuck away from them. Anyway, blind review. Blind review. Anonymous review. So I guess that's going to be... You're going to start seeing that on your videos now, where all these people are blind watching these, reaction videos and stuff like that. It's not going to be a blind review anymore. It's going to be an anonymous review, which you can see their faces, so that doesn't make any sense. Unintentionally perpetrates that disability is somehow abnormal or negative, furthering the ableist culture. I don't know any blind people that want to be blind. Well, that's not true either. They got people that actually make themselves blind, or just that one chick, but wow. Blind study. Masked study. I would think that would actually lessen it, in my opinion, if you call it that. A blind person is blind. All right. Greetings, you're on the air.
Hi, it's Limited Access.
Hey, Limited Access, how are you this evening?
I'm having an asthma attack, so I'm not going to be on too long. Hallie was trying to call you and said she couldn't get through. But I apparently got through.
Yeah.
So, Hallie, if you're still listening, please try to get through. I was able to get through. So I love you, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm having an asthma attack, so I just wanted to make sure that Hallie could call because I wanted to hear her sweet voice.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes,
All right,
you take
love
care of
guys,
yourself.
bunches.
You take care of yourself.
All right, I will.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I will.
Good
Talk
night.
to you soon. Bye.
Happy New Year. All right. Okay, yeah, the phone is working. Well, it was working for her anyway. I don't know, Hallie. Maybe make sure that your phone's working, or I don't know. I don't know how most people call me. I know everybody calls a phone or carries a phone on them. If you answer the phone with hello, you're on the air, most telemarketers will quickly hang up. Well, that's why I say greetings. And anybody calling me knows that they're fixing to be on the air. That's what this that's what this show is. So if you're calling me and you don't know you're going to be on the air, oh well. Skeletor, I've been making fun of people in public my whole life. I like to see the looks on their faces. Well, I have actually too. Since I was little, my great-grandmother was a people watcher. But you know, everybody, oh, look at that one, look at that, what are they doing? You know, look at the things on their head. So, yeah, I guess you could say I've been doing that too. But we don't do it to their faces usually. All right. Let's see. Committed suicide. Committed suicide. They don't want. That's a problematic thing. Even though that's what. And it's like their alternative is died by suicide. Seriously? What's the difference? Ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with mental health conditions. Bullshit! Come on! Who's coming up with this? This is actually one of my problems with this. These are all nameless, faceless motherfuckers that probably don't stand behind all of this shit. And I was reading, this actually came out, I believe, on Christmas Day. Or the day after Christmas, or the day before Christmas. And I'm thinking, wow, I can't wait to talk about this. And I was listening to other people talk about it, and they're all like, yeah, Twitter really lambasted them about this because this is a huge... Well, it's. I think they want it to be a paradigm shift, but it's crap. It's bullshit. This seems like this ended up being some kind of busy work for a doctorate's grade in this university. So, what can I tell you? Abel is like confined to a wheelchair. Change that to person who uses a wheelchair. Using person first language helps to not define people by just one of their characteristics. Again, they're doing that themselves. Not to mention the fact that that's the one thing that people see. That's the first thing that people see when you greet somebody like that. Okay, that person's confined to a wheelchair. Doesn't make them any less of a human being. And this is actually the truth. This poor person, I mean, what are they using it temporarily once in a while? I mean, they can walk? I mean, come on. And I was going to say, I don't know of anybody that knows people that are in wheelchairs or anything like that that think that that's their personality or that's the one thing that characterizes them. Are these people really that obtuse? Are they really that narrow-minded like this? Is this really what how they think? I mean, and that just tells you that that's how they look at other people. If they come up with this and they're telling everybody that this is the case, it seems to me like they're just, this is the way they look at other people. So if you walk up to one of these people and you happen to have red hair, that's the only thing that they're going to associate you with. That's the only thing that's going to become your personality to them. Think about that. Let's see. Crazy. Don't call anybody crazy. They're surprising or wild. Well, you're taking away from the animals there, and surprising, nothing surprises me anymore. But you can tell a crazy person, it's in their eyes. Gingers have no souls. Hey, buddy, watch out. I used to be a redhead before I turned gray. Ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with mental health conditions. No, it doesn't. It tells other people, hey, man, you may want to, stay away from that person. Especially you've seen, what is it that Salty always says? Don't stick your dick in crazy. Wouldn't you want to warn another bloke about something like that? Especially if she slashed your tires and cut up all your clothes and all that. That's nuts. Actually, I'm for a greater sensitivity, but when ableism becomes an obsession. As I say, I've got all the sensitivity in the world, but I'm not going to change my language. I'm not going to, because really and truly, we're all individuals and everything like that. Nobody really cares that much. They really don't. And like I say, I've worked with people that were handicapped, specially abled, whatever you want to call it, for years. And most of them have great senses of humor about it. They have to. I mean, that's definitely a suffering type of thing to have to go through. I've been off my feet. I've broken my leg before. I've been there. I've been in a wheelchair before. It's hell not being able to just get up and walk somewhere. It sucks. You have to think of all kinds of alternatives. They're definitely abled. So yeah, I have a lot of sensitivity, but don't sit there and tell me what I can and can't say. This is what I'm talking about. Not to mention the fact that a lot of this is absolute crap. Cripple. Noun, crippled, adjective, person with a disability. Actually, I thought they had already wound all of these people down into specially abled. I can't think of anything nicer or better than that. Ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with disabilities. Nobody's trivializing, you guys. But you know what? Ain't nobody else gonna live your life. They're not gonna have your experiences. They're not gonna have your problems. They're not gonna know anything about it. Don't expect people to know this stuff just out of osmosis, for fuck's sake. Come on. Handicap parking. Or accessible parking. That's the alternative. Well, accessible is a little broad, don't you think? I mean, accessible. That means it's accessible to everyone. Very, very ambiguous there. I missed this next one. Dumb. Try using non-vocal or non-verbal. I don't call non-vocal or non-verbal people dumb. I call 99% of Twitter dumb. These people are not non-verbal and they're not non-vocal. But a majority of them are fucking idiots. Once used to describe a person who could not speak and implied the person was incapable of expressing themselves. Never meant, it might have meant that at one time, but it doesn't mean that now. In fact, they've been very vocal in telling us not to call people like deaf and dumb and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like Helen Keller was deaf and dumb. And blind too. And that's why she was dumb, or why they thought she was dumb. But even she changed. Even she became what? She became a college professor and started talking in front of colleges. So, yeah. And these terms can change depending on the person, too. Handicapped is specific. Yeah, I was going to say accessible parking. Accessible to who? At that point, you've made it everybody. Let's see. Handicapped space. Accessible space. Okay. I can get in there too then, huh? Insane. And again, the same as crazy. Surprising or wild. No. Surprising is if somebody shoves their thumb up your ass unexpectedly. Crazy is, like I told you, some chick ripping apart your clothes or going nuts and doing all, ruining stuff if you break up with her or something like, or even if you don't. That's crazy. That's why I say this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Lame. Lame. They want you to use boring or uncool. I was going to say, did boomers work on this? Didn't they use uncool in the 80s? Ableist language that can trivialize the experience of people living with disabilities. Bullshit. Lame. That means your joke sucked. That means you did something wrong, or you did a fail. That's lame. Or you sang badly or something like that. That's lame. That does, Now, back in the 1800s, lame used to mean you had a short leg or a bum leg or something like that. You were lame. You got lamed. But all of this is ableist language. No, it's actually regular language. It's language that people have been saying for years. Man, you're boring or uncool. Can you imagine telling a friend that? I mean, I can say, oh yeah, man, I'm bored. Let's go do something. But that's, and I was gonna say, you guys were talking about, you know, being kind or having sensitivity or anything like that. I mean, how insensitive is it of you to call somebody boring or uncool or any of this? All right. Mentally ill, person living with a mental health condition. So, mentally ill, but use the definition of it instead. I don't think so. I'm going to go from 2 words to 7? Obviously, these people are backwards or trying to go backwards. Using person first language helps to not define people by just one of their characteristics. Give me a break. Give me a break with that. That's really strange. OCD. Instead, use detail-oriented. That is totally... That's one aspect of OCD. And it's not necessarily detail-oriented either. My father-in-law had OCD, and he would stand at the door for half an hour, locking it and unlocking it, to make sure that it was locked. I kid you not. That's OCD. Paraplegic. Person with a spinal cord injury or person who is paralyzed. So in other words, we can't tell anybody that just their legs don't work that way. You have to, like I say, again, they're trading the word for saying the definition of the word. I'm sorry, but no. Not to mention the fact you never know if that person has a spinal cord injury. You can't know that from looking at them. What if they're just fat? What if they're just they just can't move, or they have diabetes or something? That's what I'm saying. This is they don't know. They don't know this stuff. This term generalizes a population of people while also implying that people with disabilities are not capable. No, it doesn't. It tells you that this person's in a wheelchair. Their legs don't work. Actually, a lot of this stuff isn't slang, though, Hallie. She says it sounds like they hate slang. It's actually not slang. A lot of this stuff is medical. These were all medical terms up until a certain point. Quadriplegic, the same thing. People with a spinal cord injury or a person who is paralyzed. No shit! This term generalizes the population. Yeah. They're so worried about generalization, right? Why is it that they're grouping everyone into certain groups of people now? But now they're worried about generalization. Give me a break. Here's one of my favorites. Retard. We used to call our buddies retards all the time. We'd have a fail, or we'd fall out of a tree or something like that while we were out playing or whatever like that. Ah, you retard. Person with a cognitive disability, person with autism, neurodivergent person. This term is a slur against those who are neurodivergent or have a cognitive disability. No, it's not. In fact, what are they going to use now for retarding in music? When you have to slow the music down at the end, it's called a retard. So what are they going to do about that? Sorry. It means slow. It means slow down. It means slower. Let's see. Lord Slade says, the craziest I've ever experienced was a chick that threw a brick through my window and spray painted "I love you" on my car in pink after I called it off. We had only gone out for less than a month. Yeah. That's crazy. You'd have to be crazy to think that you could get away with something like that. You'd have to be crazy to think that somebody would actually succumb to that as well. It's like, oh my God, this person, if the slightest little slight, they're gonna slit my throat. I mean, come on. But that doesn't mean they're disabled or any of that either. It's not ableist language at that point. So let's see. Next one is retarded, boring, uncool. Like I said, what boomer wrote this shit? This term is a slur against those who are neurodivergent or have a cognitive disability. Actually, to be honest with you, I've never heard anybody call someone that has mental problems or anything like that a retard. Never. We've always used it against our friends and people that we know that aren't, just because they fucked up or something. Or they failed at something, or they slipped and fell, or, you know, oh, you retard, whatever like that. So, actually, I was going to say, this actually, I'm telling you this list of words, Pastor Shadley, if you're still with me, more words for you to use so that people can get triggered by them. They've just given you another list of words that you need to use more often so that they can fuck themselves with this list that we can't say, or trying to go against the First Amendment as far as this goes. Here's another one, sanity check. Use confidence check, coherence check, fact check. No, neither one, not one of those has anything to do with a sanity check. And again, that might be slang. That right there might be slang. But it's like, you know, just because you're normal most of the time doesn't mean you don't have mental problems sometimes. I think I'm losing my sanity sometimes when things go wrong in one of my shows, and it's like, oh, what can go wrong next? Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. It'll be all right, you can fix it, you know. So, yeah, you get a sanity check. Everybody gets a sanity check. You don't have to be disabled mentally or any of that other stuff to need a sanity check. They're leaving people out. Again, inclusivity my ass. Next one, spaz. Use clumsy. No, use clumsy for clumsy. Spaz means you're just like nervous, crazy all the time. In fact, I just did spaz when I was talking about a sanity check. Ableist language that trivializes the experiences of people living with disabilities. And I noticed they use the exact same definition or the exact same explanation on all of these. Which tells me, again, they don't have a clue. They're making this shit up as they go along just to see how many people will conform. Right, exactly, Skeletor. Call a retard, but not someone who's retarded. Exactly. So I say, I've never seen or known anyone that disparages the disabled or the mentally abled. Unless they act like they shouldn't be in public. Or they take advantage of it like some of the people that we talk about throughout the years. Generation Jones, not an early boomer. They're him crazy. Yeah. Jones generation. That you talking about the guy that killed everybody with the Kool-Aid? Bingo. What did I say, Kevin? I'm sorry, I forgot what I said just now. He said bingo. B-I-N-G-O. B-I-N-G-O. That's a dog's name, wasn't it? Actually, that was, at one point, I think some of my cousins, that was what they used for, that was their kid word for going to number 2. All right. Let's see. What's that? Stand-up meeting. The hell's a stand-up meeting? I've never heard of that before. Consider using quick meeting. All right, I'm not familiar with that. And again, the same explanation. Ableist language that trivializes. In other words, if you have somebody that works in a wheelchair, it's offensive to them because they can't stand up. Is that what that means? You actually go into a meeting and don't sit down? I mean, I've never been in an IT meeting before. I went to college and then I started working for a small nonprofit that actually helps the disabled, the specially abled, tone deaf, unenlightened. No. Tone deaf is another musical term that if this person is like, it's like telling somebody that they can't carry a tune if it had handles or something like that. So no, you can't take that away from us either. And I've never known anybody to be tone deaf being known as unenlightened, and that's crap. That's, in fact, unenlightened is a subjective term. It's an extremely personal term. You wouldn't know that if you weren't that person. And of course, most people call themselves enlightened when they're actually not. Again, ableist language, the exact same. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Four times they say the exact same thing. Wheelchair bound, person who uses a wheelchair. I could use a wheelchair, and I have. I busted my leg and I needed to be wheeled around in a wheelchair. So does that make me I was wheelchair bound at the time. Using person first language. Again, another exact same definition as the ones above. This is all the ableist stuff here. Family next door or in the Jones generation, keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, the Joneses. Yeah, okay. Is piece of shit on the list? I'm curious to know. Probably in all the signatures, the people who actually who actually came up with this bullshit. Ageism, and I noticed now ageism has a little teeny weeny little section. There's 2 words that are problematic when it comes to ageism. Graybeard. Wasn't that a pirate? Wasn't that a famous pirate? Consider using the person's name. Okay, Jack. Context. It calls out an older and presumably more experienced IT or cybersecurity person by referring to their age instead of their name. So, I would think that you would want somebody that has a little experience and know what's going on before you do anything. And then the next one is senile. Person suffering from senility. My brain hurts. Again, they want you to use the definition of the word. No. Why not just use the word? Why trade one word for 5? I mean, for fuck's sake, they're actually trying to take words away from us, but that's not working. Colonialism, which stopped with the United States, I believe. Colonialism is the policy or practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. It is better to avoid terms that derive from colonialism. They've got to be kidding, right? They're going back. Still, what is this? 1692? 1492? What is it? What? 300, 400, 500 years ago? Come on, you guys. This is bullshit. Again. Philippine Islands. This is the only one. Colonialism. Philippine Islands. Philippines or the Republic of the Philippines. I've never called it anything other than the Philippines. My father went to the Philippines. He was stationed out there. In fact, my mom actually was just like a slightly bit taller than most of the women out there. And she would go grocery shopping or do something like that, and the prostitutes would throw stones at her. So you can give me a break with all of this stuff. And I don't know what why in the world, is there something going on in the Philippines that they're not talking about? Or has somebody gone over there and is now replacing all of their population and taking all of their resources that I didn't hear about or didn't know about? Is that some news that they're not talking about? Thank you. All right, perfect night for hot chocolate. It's actually raining its ass off outside. Thank God it's outside. Winter time. I love winter time. Hot chocolate is the best. He mixes Swiss Miss with abuelita. All right, culturally appropriative. This is another thing. The United States is a melting pot. That's why I say this is another way that they're trying to separate us into all these little factions. But this is the United States. It's impossible. I would venture to say that it was impossible. I would bet you that there would be one person from one place that nobody else was from that's here in the United States, and they would be isolated. They would be by themselves. That's craziness. Again, craziness. And it's not surprising. They've been planning this. They've been doing this on purpose. Look at me. All right. And let's see, brave. Don't use the word brave anymore. Okay, these people aren't brave and beautiful and all that anymore. In other words, consider using none. Don't use that word. Don't use anything for that word at all. The term perpetrates the stereotype of the noble, courageous savage, equating the indigenous male as being less than a man. Since when? Since when? Again, they're making shit up. Bury the hatchet. Consider using call for peace or call a truce. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Using this term is cultural appropriation of a centuries-old tradition among some North American indigenous peoples who buried their tools as a war as a symbol of peace. So, great, fantastic, peace. All for peace. Why do we have to change that? In fact, that's one of the better colloquialisms out there. I know I didn't say that right. Skeletor says, wow, I got a hot chocolate in front of me now. Lucky you. Cheers. Enter by legal means like our ancestors did. Yeah. If a white person tries Ethiopian food, is that racism? I don't know. In fact, back in the 80s, we were always told that the Ethiopians didn't have food, so I don't know what to tell you about that. Let's see. Chief. Consider using the person's name. Calling a non-indigenous person chief trivializes both the hereditary and elected chiefs in indigenous communities. Calling an indigenous person chief is a slur. All right, this is bullshit too. I work for indigenous persons. They name themselves chiefs. In fact, there's pictures all over the walls, and the last 2 years they've done memorials for 2 of the chiefs that have passed away. So they're telling everybody that only the indigenous people can use that word now, and actually it didn't actually give any exceptions, so probably not even them. How messed up is this? Geronimo. Instead of using Geronimo, consider using none. Only used when discussing the historical figure. Geronimo was a famous leader and medicine man whose name is used today as a caricature of the brave warrior, often during macho pursuits. So, actually, that came through. It started coming through in one of the war movies, if I remember correctly. It was a movie. It was a movie theme. It came from. It's a pop culture thing. I think this is a problem with a lot of these folks. They're making this shit up as they go along because they have zero idea of the actual history of a lot of this stuff, where this stuff came from. Guru is now a bad name. All right, bad word. Expert, subject matter expert. Try this. Expert, subject matter expert, SME, primary leader, teacher, guide. Or you could use the person's name. In the Buddhist and Hindu traditions, the word is a sign of respect. Usually it casually negates its original value. Using it casually negates its original value. Does anybody really know what that was? And I don't... I guess they're going to have to erase all the movies now. There's a... In fact, didn't Mike Myers make a Guru movie? Is that going to be changed to Expert or something like that now? The Love Expert? Doesn't have quite as good of a ring to it. You know, language is also supposed to be creative. You know, you take away a lot of this stuff and you actually take away a lot of the pictures that you can get in your head with a lot of this stuff. And this stuff, it's been natural language since it came out. And again, a majority of it is a lot of it is pulp culture. In fact, Geronimo was supposedly used as a tribute to him. He was a brave warrior, or being a brave warrior, just like Geronimo was, and just like we feel that Geronimo was. You know, it's weird. We can't praise any of these folks. They're always screaming and yelling about the fact that we took away everything from them and everything like that. But when we go to praise them and we go to honor them and we go to name things after them because of that, it's no, that's terrible. You're making fun of them. You're doing this and you're doing that. It's like, no, we're not. That's the whole point. It's the same around the same lines where they took off the Indian lady off the butter and the black people off of the cereals and stuff like that. Why? I didn't see him get rid of the Quaker Oats man. So again, I'm asking why? I didn't want to see any of these people go away. They didn't ask me. They didn't ask any of us, it didn't seem like. Who is it? Who are these nameless, faceless people that are making these fucking decisions for us? I don't like it. And I want it to stop. This is crap. Low man on the totem pole. Instead of saying that, say lacking seniority, don't have the power or prestige. How about lackey? How about newbie? How about, you know, what can I tell? Trivializes something that is sacred to indigenous people. Really? I was going to say, wasn't that their way? Now, I don't know a whole lot about totem poles, but wasn't that their way of telling people who the people were, the most important people in their tribe was and everything like that? And there was a low man on the totem pole. In fact, wasn't the lower man on the totem pole like the village idiot or something like that? It might have been just one or two tribes. I don't know. I don't know everybody's history. On the warpath, mad or on the offense? I can see it now. Everybody's going to still stay at their station. Somebody's going to come in and say, oh man, here comes the boss. He's on the offensive. And because of the fact that it doesn't give you a picture of, oh hell, oh no, they're going to sit around and take abuse from these assholes now. Cultural appropriation of a term that referred to the route taken by indigenous peoples heading towards a battle with an enemy. How do they know that? Or are they going by the Trail of Tears? And of course, that wasn't a battleground. That wasn't a battle. Pocahontas. Gee, I wonder who they're directing this one at. The person's name. Use the person's name. This is a slur and should not be used to address an indigenous woman unless that is her actual name. To be honest with you, I've never heard anybody use that name to address an indigenous woman. Just a fake one. Powwow or powwow. Verb. Meet or get together. Oh, the Indians aren't going to like this. The indigenous people aren't going to like this at all. In fact, we play live music at their powwow almost every year. Using this term in this manner demeans the term of cultural significance to indigenous people. Not necessarily. Actually, they don't give a shit whether you use it or not. They have their own terms. They have their own things. And I wanted to know, do these people actually go to these people, these other people, and these indigenous people and actually ask them about this? Or are they just telling us this out of, you know, we had to have something for all this, so we just make this up as we're going along. My Indian friend with the feathers in his ears thinks this is retarded too. Hey, Bobby. Welcome to the show. KOC, welcome to the show. I guess you guys are enjoying me going over these words. I do have some fun planned after this, but I wanted to go over a lot of these because they're idiotic, and also too, a lot of them have the exact same explanation as to why not to use them, which is very vague, and really most people would look at that and go, whatever. Spirit animal. Uh-oh. You can't use that slang anymore. Favorite animal I most admire would like to be. Well, they're showing us that. You've seen furries, I'm sure. And actually, somebody in our military even took pictures with a dog mask on. That's crazy. The term refers to an animal spirit that guides, protects ones on a journey. So to equate it with an animal one likes is to demean the significance of the term. No, it isn't. So, indigenous people are the only people that can have spirit animals. In fact, didn't Khalil Gibran actually go with a lot of the Native Americans, and they taught him a lot of their ways as far as that goes? He had a spirit animal. I don't know a lot of people that have read Khalil Gibran, but too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Lack of clear direction, too many competing ideas. How about clusterfuck? Can we use that? Trivializes the structure of indigenous communities. No, it doesn't. That means you got too many people that are micromanaging and not enough people actually doing the fucking work. It's like you can also say too many. Actually, that term is not too many chiefs, it's too many chefs. So I don't know where they got that from. Tribal knowledge. Institutional knowledge. Tribes are not institutions, are they? I don't think so. But this just goes to show you that they want everything. They want to be in control of this stuff. They make it institutional knowledge. There ain't no tribes, ain't no institution. In fact, they'll even call it tribal knowledge, and they pass it down to their children. They're still passing it down to their children. Unfortunately, the fact that the federal government has control over a lot of them means they don't have much to pass down to their children, except for their knowledge. Get with the In fact, I think if some of these people actually went to some of these places, they would know a lot better. Greetings, you're on the air.
Hi, it's Howie. Hi, if Howie got through, I think something was wrong with my phone. I don't mean to interrupt. I think you're on a roll here with the words. I hate to interrupt you.
No problem.
Won't be able to be too long anyway. But I just want to say, as an editor, I try to be more, aware maybe of certain. I look at etymology, certain words. This obviously is beyond insane. Well, I'll use the word insane. It really is insane. It's not even wild, crazy, wild, surprising. I think they're obsessed. But I think the problem, I'm just saying, I understand the certain point they're making about being identified with a certain condition. I have, or in some societies that do place a value. Like I have a friend, for example, or I'll even myself, I'll say I'm single. I'm an older single woman in a religious community. So being single is kind of sort of a stigma. But I just say, I hope someday to find somebody nice, but I'm still able to contribute my own way. If not, if there's the value might be placed on marriage and children. A friend of mine struggled with infertility for many years, and she finally adopted. She also lived in that community, and she said she just felt like she wasn't allowed to have a life. That somehow you're defined in terms of being childless. Or if you're have a disability of some sort, that you're supposed to be this pity case. So so that I do kind of agree with them in a sense of not stigmatizing somebody if they have if they're just a certain difference. But there are times when you have to call a spade. Mm-hmm. If somebody is acting crazy, like I'm seeing enough on the trains I ride home here in New York, and crazy is crazy. And I'm not going to say he's just mentally impaired. I hope the person gets help, but still, they can be dangerous.
Yeah, I think some of them. I've seen some of those videos, and I think some of them just do it on purpose because they know they can get away with it, and that is pretty crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a form of control. I do have to warn you something about another thing. They're obviously going to gloss over it, but something more insidious with people redefining words now. They redefine racism. Or the Cambridge Dictionary redefined woman, means the trans people.
Right.
It's not. It's no longer someone XX. Reproductive. It's anybody who identifies. And I had a similar. This happened in my community. And some of the very, very religious magazine communities will not show pictures of women. Even some of the Muslims are like that the same way. Women are, even if she's modestly dressed, it's not erotically charged or anything, but some will not show women. So a bunch of feminists took this magazine, a certain magazine, the publisher to court, because it was defamation. That's what they called it. And I wrote back. I said, this is on a Facebook page thread. I said, well, it's not really defamation. No one is saying anything like libel or slander. They're not saying anything about it. In fact, there are women writers for the magazine, but they just are not shown. I personally am against it. I have more moderate views, and a lot of us do. But if that's their magazine, that apparently the case, I think it got thrown out because of freedom of speech. But they're still trying to, take, I don't know if they're appealing. I don't know what the word is. But then someone wrote back to say, well, it is defamation because the whole thing is demeaning to women to leave them out or blur, or to pixelate their faces, blur them out. I said, but, anything, that's your interpretation. Maybe you're offended. I don't like it either, but there are women who are okay with it. Or feel women, it's really more a reflection of the men than the women. They're afraid that pictures of women will arouse the men or distract them. But I feel, I have a more moderate, my advice to them is just don't buy the magazines. But ironically, these women, because they're feminists, they're coming out they're sort of defiantly coming out with these women's magazines that are just challenging all male authority and women's roles. So that's like the opposite end, which is just as wrong. But I'm saying just be careful. I think you're going to see it. I was going to ask you what your predictions for the next year, which I don't know if it could get any worse. But I think that you're going to see a lot of reinterpretations of words. They're going to start calling it defamation.
They've been doing that for a long time. I've actually been noticing stuff like that for at least the last 10 years, if not more.
Oh, really? Wow.
The only predictions that I think I'm going to see, I'm seeing more and more detransitioners, which that to me.
That interview you gave the other night was before Christmas. It was harrowing. That guy was. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
Like I say, a lot of people are noticing all of the lies. They're being tired of being lied to about a lot of this stuff. A lot of people are also being tired of being bullied into believing a lot of this stuff when they actually don't, even though they're afraid to say something. They still have their own thoughts and they still live their own lives in their own houses and things like that. So it's always, there's always going to be, there's always going to be some kind of clash between whatever. But I think we're going to see. I'm not sure. What might be surprising is we'll see the exact opposite. But I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of a calming. People are going to be. There's always you're always gonna have your assholes out there that got the claws out, but I'm seeing a lot more people starting to realize, if nothing else, reality.
And red pill, I guess that'll be on the list, I'm sure. But I think that thinking about the younger people are kind of moving more toward the center. That there is a middle ground. Like the point they're making is to be sensitive, yes. But some of these, you talk about these cultural references, bury the to. Who cares? I mean, I don't know. But that's what a language is all about. I mean, again, as an editor, I find right away when something it's just very bland, pedestrian prose. It's, slang, whatever idioms, that's the spice of life. I was going to say, I know that there was I don't know if you got to it yet. I kept getting interrupted with, things here. I'm at work. There was an expression, beat a dead horse. They said that should be eliminated. It's just, let go of the situation. You're beating a dead horse because it connotes abuse. And I thought, well, if the horse is dead, how is that abuse?
Oh my God, you're hurting that horse so bad.
There's an expression, killing two birds with one stone. That really riled a lot of them, and they said, we catch two birds with one stone. I think that's what somebody said. So unfortunately, it's getting to that level where even just figure. I don't know about other countries. I'm thinking of France. The languages are very gendered. French, Spanish, German. German has neuter case, not just masculine and feminine.
I was going to say, that's coming up next. That's the next heading, is gender-based. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'll let you go on. I was just saying, I have to get back to work now. But I'm just saying, though, the next step is insidiously redefining. So instead of arguing, they're going to shoot the arrow and draw the circle around it. But, as you said, it's already been happening. But they're basically just trying to change all the language control. That's really the thing. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, have a happy New Year. And
thank you. You too.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Okay. Happy, folks. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Hallie, for calling. One of the things that I'm actually astonished about with a lot of this also too is changing the languages and things like that, and trying to get people not to use words. I'm surprised a lot more writers aren't complaining about this. I mean, come on, Stephen King used almost every word in the vernacular of the world, including some foreign languages as well in all of his books. Now all of a sudden he's for not using them anymore? I mean, that's what made him famous. Words. But he's on Twitter whining about it. What the fuck? I don't read his stuff anymore. I loved his books. Some of them were just a little bit too long, but that's how I also know that he used every word in the fucking vernacular to get his points across from this stuff. And I actually, his writing was so good, and he used so many words, and he was so creative with the words. I could actually almost practically live his books in my head. I could see them. I could see them while I was reading the book. You take away a lot of this language, nobody's gonna know a clue with what you're fucking talking about anything. And the idioms, like I say, are part of life. That's actually, a lot of it's pulp culture. All right, gender-based. Instead of using preferred pronouns, consider using pronouns. In other words, take the preferred off. And I notice they have the quotes next to on preferred. The word preferred suggests that non-binary gender identity is a choice and a preference. It only suggests? Yeah. Okay. Balls to the wall. Can't use balls to the wall. Consider using accelerate efforts. Oh, that's really going to get people motivated to do shit. Attributes personality traits to anatomy. So? Isn't that what we are? We are anatomy. And of course, ballsy. You can't use the word ballsy either. In fact, that would be another word for brave, which they don't want you to use that anymore either. They can kiss my ass on that one. Bold risk taker. Oh yeah, he's so bold. Such a risk taker. A lot of these things that they want us to replace some of these with are lame. Chairman, chairwoman. Those have already been replaced. Chairperson or chair. How about leader? How about person in charge? Lumps a group of people using gender binary language, which doesn't include everyone. Yeah, actually it does. If you're being realistic about it, it does. Same with congressman, congresswoman, fireman, freshman. They want you to use... does anybody know what the word frosh means? F-R-O-S-H? Freshman, frosh, or first year student. Now, I know that in medical, they do use the word first year student. But no more freshmen. So I guess you can still use sophomore, junior, and senior. But wouldn't junior and senior, wouldn't that be ageism? Lumps a group of students using masculine language or into gender binary groups that don't include everyone. Guys. Don't use the word guys anymore. I wonder if they're spelling it right. Folks. Use folks, people, or everyone instead. This term reinforces male-dominated language. Male-dominated language. Just the language. Not the area, not what's going on. Have the balls to. Don't use that phrase. Have the balls to. Again, bold risk taker. Boring! Attributes personality traits to anatomy. How about if I told somebody, hey man, your nose looks like your fucking dick? Can I do that? Idiots. He. Now they don't even want you to use he. Use the person's name or they. No. Absolutely not. They're not more than one person. That is grammatically incorrect. Unless you know the person you're addressing uses he or as their pronoun, it is better to use they or ask the person which pronouns they use. Oh yeah, I'm going to go here and talk to Frank about Fred. Hey man. Hey Fred, what's your pronouns, dude? Oh, sorry. Good grief. Hermaphrodite. Referring to a person. Instead use intersex person. No. Hermaphrodite is actually a medical word. And it means the person ends up having two genitalias. Why that's anybody's business, and why anybody's even using that term other than medically anyway, or with their close and personal people, you know, mom, dad, sisters, brothers, things like that, we shouldn't, no, This term has historically been used as a slur against LGBTQ people. Why? It's not a slur against them. It's an actual medical term. Again, I know a lot of LGBTQ people, and I've never once heard anybody call them a hermaphrodite. They may have asked, Hey, man. Do you have both? But you know how fucking rare that is? That's like literally 1 in a million people born have that problem. And it's a genetic problem. It's like a mutation. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing either. I mean, these people are human. Actually, I would always figure the best thing about them is that they get to choose. But that's not actually the case either. They actually grow another appendage or something like that, even though they're actually still female or whatever. In fact, a lot of times they find out that it could possibly be a recessed twin. So, let me say, I've never heard anybody in that fucking group of people be called a hermaphrodite. Never. Ladies, everyone. Oh, we don't get our own classification anymore. We're just everyone now. Lumps a group of people using gender binary language that doesn't include everyone. How about if you're only talking to a bunch of ladies? That doesn't sound very inclusive to me. It really doesn't. Landlord or landlady. Consider using property owner. Lumps a group of people using again, the same reason over and over and over again, which tells me again, they don't know. They're making this shit up. Mailman, male person, postal carrier, letter carrier. Okay. But they don't carry letter. It's I don't actually, we call mailmen mailmen and mail ladies mail ladies. In fact, we have a mail lady and she doesn't balk about what we call her. In fact, usually we call her by her name. Again, lumps a group of public servants. A group of public servants. They added that to it. A public servants. Oh man, those guys got to be revered. You cannot disrespect them in whatsoever. You have to know by osmosis what they want to be called and all this other. Man, verb, staff. Wouldn't that be identifying him by his body parts? His anatomy? This term reinforces male-dominated language. Man hours. Instead of using man hours, person hours, effort hours, labor time. Man in the middle. Person in the middle. Mankind. People. Humankind. Human beings. This term reinforces dominated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them with the same thing. This term reinforces male-dominated language. What if you're working construction? What if you're working in all of these, one of these things that have nothing but men in them? There's, there are men's clubs. There are all kinds of men. Do you know any of these guys that would go into one of these groups and want to be called anything else? I don't. Manpower, policemen, policewomen, seminal, leading groundbreaking. I don't know what seminal is. In fact, I'm thinking that that's a medical term. Seminal, what is it? Seminal, something to do with the male anatomy. Leading groundbreaking. Item number, she, of course, she male. Now they hate this. She male, transgender woman, trans woman. Nope. There's a difference. This slur is often used disparagingly to refer to people who don't conform to gender expectations. Some in the community do identify with self-describe as the term, though. Oh, so it's another one of these people that we have to ask. All right. She-male was actually made up in the 80s because there were so many female impersonators that were getting top surgery, if you will. In other words, a chick with a dick. Or actually, just a dude with tits. Tranny or tranny. Transgender person, trans or non-gender conforming folk. This slur is often used disparagingly to refer to people who don't conform, blah, 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 blah. There's another explanation, the same exact explanation. And I'm wondering, how many of these people have they actually spoken to? Because up until a few years ago, that's what they called themselves. In fact, I worked with one that was in her fucking name. Tranny, she used tranny in place of granny. And she actually did dress up like an older woman. Whatever. Actually, when they were dressed up as women, we called them she. Because that was the act. That was the shtick. Transgendered. Leave off the ED and just use transgender. No past tense there. This term avoids connections that being transgender is something that is done to a person and or that some kind of transition is required. Really? Doesn't it just mean isn't it just the past tense of transgender? I don't know. Maybe somebody transgender would have to tell me about that. I don't know. Transsexual, unless used medically. Oh, there's an exception for that one. Transgender person, trans or non-gendering conforming folk. Transsexual. Now, that particular term, the first time I heard that term was in like 1980. You know, oh shit. I see him in my head now. Tim Curry. You guys. Folks, people, everyone. Don't use you guys. Lumps a group of people using masculine language or into blah, 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 blah. Imprecise language. All right, another call. Greetings, you're on the air.
Laura, DGddss.
Oh, Kevin, how are you?
Well, I was told that you needed a resource you had a question about trannies?
Oh, right.
What's the question?
Let's see, which one was it that I was thinking about here? They've got actually 3 here. Tranny, which they spell it twice, Tranny, Trannie, transgendered, or transsexual. Actually, I think the transsexual one was that I think I had a question with.
Okay.
How do you guys use that?
You use it in English.
Everybody.
Just the way it sounds, just the way it's written, that's how you use it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, for what type of person though? Is it only used medically once you've gotten your operation or whatever?
It's used after you had your operation, after you've been on hormones. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. They say.
Why, does somebody have a problem with it?
Yeah, these people that I'm reading this list off, they don't want you to use that anymore unless it's medical. They actually give you an exception for that one.
Oh, that's so nice of them. So how many antidepressants is that person on who wrote that list?
I don't know.
I think they might be on too many antidepressants. Maybe they should lay off. Chill out a little bit.
It almost sounds like box wine boomers in some cases.
Oh, it sounds like sad. It sounds like cat piss all over the place and problems and oh my, I just couldn't imagine being that unhappy. Could you?
Now, these are tenured most of these, I guess these people are tenured professors, but that was my question to begin with. Who are these nameless, faceless people that think they can speak for everyone?
Freaks.
I'm telling you.
Oh, well, it was good talking to you, Laura. I'm glad I could be of assistance.
Yes, thank you for calling. Thank you for being here tonight.
Love you.
I appreciate it. Love you too. And you have a great New Year.
You too. You have. Oh! Are you going to be there for the New Year's Eve party on Red Dawn Radio?
No, I have to work.
Oh shoot!
I'm going to be entertaining the masses. Do what?
Oh, fabulous!
Oh. DJ Brandrek asked, "Why does it smell like cat piss and cigarettes?" That must be what that conference room smelled like after they finished this 13-page abomination.
I just realized something. Later on down the list, I wonder if cat piss is going to be against it. I wonder if piss goblin is going to be banned soon. Oh my Lord. Or AIDS infested piss goblin. Oh my Lord, Salty Cracker better watch his back.
You never know.
Oh my Lord.
Well, they said this was progressive and going over a bunch of years, so I would venture to say they make the rules as they go along.
Oh my word. Oh, just so sad. We'll say a prayer for these people, okay?
Indeed.
All right, love you.
Love you too, babe. You have a great weekend.
You too.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
All right, for those of you that don't know who that was Kevin's Chaotic Coffee. He comes on every weekday morning at 8 a.m., I believe. He's on a little earlier than that, but at 8 a.m. he's does the Chaotic Coffee Hour with Kevin on Odysee. So make sure you go check him out. He's probably, I know he's on the schedule that Rougarou puts out, so anything like that. All right, imprecise language is next. We're only halfway through this sucker, and my show's almost over too. I had a whole bunch of other things I was going to show you guys, but this is ridiculous. This is crazy. Let's see. I'll pick out some of the more nuts ones. Let's see. Abort. Don't use the word abort. Tell them cancel or end. End would not be right because that would mean you'd have to go through this whole thing. You're not aborting something. They don't want you to use the word American, U.S. citizen. Fuck that. This term often refers to people from the United States only, thereby insinuating that the U.S. is the most important country in the Americas, which is actually made up of 42 countries. So, it's not my fault if none of these other countries are proud to be whatever country they're from. United States of America. In fact, I don't hear any of the other countries using the term America in any of their country stuff. So no, shut up. I'm using American. That's why I say, Pastor Shadley and all of you guys that are on the chats and everything like that, use these words. Keep using these words. Tell them they can kiss our ass. I'd like to know who died and put these people in charge. Not to mention the fact also, too, this is for an IT corporation, the IT people at this corporation. So the IT people are going to talk a lot different than all the rest of us are going to talk? No, I don't think so. And like I say, most IT people that I know of don't give a shit. They don't care. As long as they understand what the hell's going on and they can fix it. And I was going to say, a lot of this also, too, I don't know where a lot of these languages coming from. Unless you're talking about personal stuff. None of this shit goes in any of your IT language. It's all what is it? When it was with us, it was all flow charts and project management to where you were doing a program. It didn't have anything to do with anything really personal, unless it was some sociology class or book or something like that or whatever. But even then, and that was always prescribed by whoever wrote the damn book. So I don't know. Circle the wagons. Take a defensive position. I'm not real sure. Hollywood movies about settlers migrating west contributed greatly to the formation of the phrase, which means that savages are coming and a group of white people is about to be attacked. It also paints indigenous people as the aggressors. You got to be kidding me, right? Like the indigenous people didn't protect themselves against their rivals and their other rival tribes and all that other stuff. This was only a white thing? Fuck you. And not to mention the fact, who even says that anymore? Who even says that anymore? That, like I say, that's another colloquialism that came from pop culture. And I don't think anybody uses it anymore except for in old westerns. Here's one they don't want you to use. Child prostitute. Child who has been trafficked. All right, using first. This is another first-person language thing. It defines that person by just that one characteristic. Are you kidding me? First of all, is that even a thing? I know that there's like 14 and 15-year-olds out there doing this kind of thing, unfortunately. But is that what they're called? I've never heard that. I've never really heard that phrase. Usually they're called abused children or sexually abused children. Half-breed, person of multiple ethnicities. You can't be half then. If you have multiple, half means you have two. So, this term generally considered to be a slur against those of mixed race. Nah, well, yeah, back in the 1800s and the early 1900s, yeah. When we still had, when it was still taboo to marry outside of your race, if you will. Excuse me. All right, Indian giver, person who takes something back that was given, one who expects an equivalent gift in return for one that was given. That's not the definition of Indian giver. Now, I don't know who came up with that term, but that was a term when if you gave something to somebody and then you took it back with spite and malice. It wasn't necessarily but yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with one who expects an equivalent gift in return for one that was given. That right there is a narcissist. Indian summer. Use late summer instead. I always thought Indian summer meant hot. Karen. Don't use the word Karen anymore. You want to hear something funny? One of the ladies I work with is a black lady. She's one of the head of the sanitation department over there at the casino, and she's black, and her name was Karen. So you guys need to change that up somehow or another, because that's a person's name, for fuck's sake. Demanding or entitled white woman. How about bitch? I don't care what color they are. If you get up in somebody's face and start screaming and yelling about something cockamamie or something small or a perceived slight, you're a bitch. Oriental. They don't want you to use the word Oriental anymore. I guess you have to use Persian rug now, or some other thing for a rug. Person of Asian descent, better yet, use a specific cultural heritage, Chinese, Japanese, etc., if known. If known. So, where do they come from? We're going to call them Easterners now? They come from the Orient. This term is seen as a pejorative, as it radicalizes people of Asian descent as forever opposite others. Occidental versus Oriental. Trying to convince people of the white supremacy against Asian people, I guess, which is not happening either. Peanut gallery. You can't use peanut gallery. That's something I haven't heard since the 50s, actually. That was, the peanut gallery was Howdy Doody's audience, wasn't it? And he was a puppet. People of color used generically. BIPOC, black, indigenous, and people of color. They can't get their shit straight. This is another vernacular that they've used and changed almost monthly on what to call people that are other colors than yourself. They don't have any problems calling us the same thing all the time, but we got to change what we call them every 5 days. Yikes. Straight. Instead, use heterosexual. Okay, I'm going to make a heterosexual line now. Stupid. Again. Boring or uncool. No, man, if you do something stupid, like play stupid games, win stupid prizes, you're stupid. I'm sorry. There's nothing boring about somebody that gets... Actually, I saw a video. This guy tried to run off with a cell phone after the guy handed it to him, and the door was locked behind him. It was a jewelry store. They don't leave those doors open. They have to let you out with that stuff, and it was really stupid. He couldn't open the door. It was great. It was hilarious. I love seeing that kind of stuff, but that was not boring or uncool. Now, the act was uncool, but it was stupid. Survivor. I guess they're going to have to get rid of that. What are they going to call that show now? Person who has experienced, person who has been impacted by. That's not a survivor. Survivor is somebody that lived through a traumatic experience like cancer or a plane crash. Someone who has experienced or hasn't been impacted by. They're pretty much lessening these people's experience by just doing this. Nobody takes this stuff seriously. If you do this, if you use this kind of vernacular, just talk about boring and uncool. Tar baby. When's the last time you heard that? Like 1950 something? I actually don't even remember that. That was a 30s term. Difficult problem. They're way off on that one. This is a dismissive term for a black person. So you're going to call a black person a difficult problem? And it's just like Kevin said, what drugs were these folks on? Like I say, a lot of these actually, some of these, like I say, sound like box wine boomers. Tar baby, that's not a term that I've heard for years and years and years. And that was in old 20s and 30s movies. Thug. Suspect or criminal. I bet the thugs won't like that one. I don't think they use it as that in that way a lot of times. User. Instead of using user, consider using client. While often associated with one who uses software systems or services, it can also negatively be associated with those who suffer from substance abuse issues or those who exploit others for their own gain. If you're using me for something and I find out, that's what I'm going to call your ass. Client. That diminishes it. If someone's fucking you over and using you like that, you're going to call them a client? Come on. I can't, this is another one. Don't use the word victim. Although that's what everybody wants to be now. Feel sorry for me and send lots of money and send lots of love to me. And don't ever contradict any of my wrongness. Or else I'm a victim. Person who has experienced or person who hasn't been impacted by. No. I've been impacted by somebody holding a gun to my head and robbing me blind. That doesn't sound right. I'm a victim of a fucking robbery. Institutionalized racism. This ought to be good. Somebody was asking about whether or not they were added some of this stuff. Barrio, instead specific name of neighborhood. This term indicates any socially segregated non-white neighborhood. Really? I always thought it was ghetto. Black hat, malicious criminal or unethical hacker. Okay, so black hats. Another old Western thing. Black hats, they were used by the bad guys in these Westerns. Some of these terms are fucking almost 100 years old. What the hell? Is anybody actually using them anymore? Black mark, something that is held against one. Assigns negative connotations to the color black, radicalizing the term. No, it doesn't. Black sheep, referring to a person. Outcast. Use outcast. Oh yeah, man, I was outcast from my family. They listen to everything I say. And that's actually not the case. I'm not outcast from my family. I'm just not the one that thinks exactly the same as all the rest of them do. I don't usually go to the same movies. I don't usually go to listen to the same music. That doesn't make me an outcast. That's wrong. Black sheep. That means somebody that's different. In the group that's different. It's not an outcast. Rougarou. Thank you for being here, man. Trying to make sure that I get on such a roll with all of this. Don't forget the lines are open. Still got about 12 minutes, 13 minutes to go. I have racial slurs in all ethnic groups. Yeah. Including ours. I don't know how many times I've been called a honky. Or what the hell's that other one? And it's like, I don't really care what you think. You can call me whatever you want to call me. That's cute, Rougarou. Let's see. Blacklisted or blacklisted. Deny list or disallow. Brown bag. Lunch and learn. Tech talk. Brown bag, and it used to mean you were bringing your own bag in your own lunch in a brown bag. It was brown. Didn't have anything to do with a person or any racism. Cakewalk. Easy, simple. What's their explanation for this one? Because nobody calls it a cakewalk anymore. Usually they just call it cake. Easy or simple. Use that word in terminology and stuff. It says, enslaved people covertly used exaggerated dance to mock their enslavers. This turned into balls that the white enslavers would hold for entertainment, where the prize was a cake. Really? Pop culture from the 1880s or the 1870s or 1860s, whatever it was. Again, nobody uses this term anymore. In fact, I actually have a program named Cakewalk, and they don't call it. It hasn't been Cakewalk since '97. They turned it into Sonic or something like that. Ghetto. Use neighborhood's name. They call it the ghetto. Grandfather. They don't want you to use grandfather or grandfathered. They want you to consider using legacy or legacy status. How do you know? It doesn't make any sense. This term has its roots in the grandfather clause adopted by southern states to deny voting rights to blacks. but it's also allowed a whole bunch of other things too. Again, another thing that was over 100 years ago. We really have problems with these terms now? Because they have actually changed over the years. The meanings have actually changed over the years. Grandfathered in now means, in fact, they promised that when they changed the drinking laws here in Texas, it was 18. And when I turned 18, I actually could drink for over a half a year legally. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, well, we're going to change it to 21 all of a sudden. And but anybody that's drinking now will be grandfathered in. It didn't happen, but they did promise that. So, and I loved my grandfather. Well, one of them anyway. Gray hat hacker, hacktivist. Call that a hacktivist. Hacker who exploits weaknesses in cyber defense to bring the weaknesses to the attention of the owner with the goal of improving security. This term combines black hat and white hat, which both hold racial connotations. Do they? Or is it just a way of identifying these things? If it's anything other than that, why didn't they call it that? Master, primary or main master, become adept in. So you can't, and then you got a master list. Three things with master. One is a primary or main, which means you got a master hard drive and then a slave hard drive or whatever that is in your computer and stuff like that, which actually means one services the other. But then you got master. You can't become a master in anything anymore. I guess all the kung fu people and all the martial arts people are going to have to change that idiom. Master list of record or canonical list. Historically, masters and slave people didn't consider them human and didn't allow them to express free will, so this term should generally be avoided. This has nothing to do with that. You know how they say two things can be true at the same time? This is what they want to change. Red team, cyber offense team. Call it. Red is often used disparagingly to refer to indigenous peoples, so its use in this context would be offensive to some groups. When's the last time you heard somebody call somebody a red man? Again, another Old West idiom that became pop culture and is no longer I don't know anybody in person that talks like this. I mean, what's going on in California that all of this needs to be said? Do they still have all these boomers out there using this fucking language like this in this context? It's crazy. Okay, so now ban all the red hankies from the gay fisting league. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You see what I mean, though? This stuff is so ambiguous, but at the same time, it's ridiculous. Scrum Master. Now, I don't know what the hell a scrum is. It sounds dirty, of course, but then again, everything does to me. Agile lead, scrum leader. Historically, masters and slaves. Okay, the same thing for master and all of that other. Scalper or scalping, reseller or opportunist. This term refers to the practice of removing a piece of an enemy's scalp with the hair still attached. No, it doesn't mean that anymore. Nobody does that anymore. They haven't done that since the early 1900s. They don't do that anymore. It's not what it means. And of course, slave, secondary replica worker, slave labor. Unfair work practices, underpaid, overworked. References a time when enslavement of people, in particular black Americans, was allowed. References a time that has long, long been gone. And actually, there's still slave labor going on now. Think of the electric cars and all that shit. But they're not worried about that. That's what I say. Who is this for? I still want to know who this is for. Because I don't know any IT people that give a fuck about this shit. To call a spade, calling a spade a spade. To call something what it is, calling something what it is. I thought that they just use 100% now. And in fact, I haven't heard the spade calling a spade since the 80s. What it is, they call it 100% now. These people are. I was gonna say this is the reason why I think these are box wine boomers. Because uppity. When's the last time you heard that? Uppity, arrogant, stuck up. In fact, that's what I would call people. It's what I would call somebody that had their nose in the air all the time. Stuck up. I wouldn't call them uppity. Where did that come from? Again, that's another idiom that hasn't been used for a really long time. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, good old Joe Biden used that particular vernacular when talking about black people getting in power. Or was that when he was talking about the Supreme Court judge? So that just goes to show you how old that word is. I have yet to hear anybody use that word. Webmaster, blah, blah, blah. Instead of white paper, use position paper. Instead of white team, use cyber exercise cell. White box, visible clear box. How in the hell is that the same? Assigns value connotations based on color. White equals good. An act which is subconsciously radicalized. By who? By who? You're working on fucking electronics. It doesn't have anything to do with radicalization of people. If this is an IT thing, this is crazy. This is nuts. Person first. Convict. They don't want you to use convict anymore. Person who was incarcerated. They wouldn't be incarcerated if they weren't convicted. Well, in most cases. Disabled person. Person with a disability. Disabled person implies that the disability defines the person, whereas person with a disability gives the ownership of the disability to the person. Don't they already have it? We gotta confirm that now? Person without housing. Don't use homeless person. Use person without housing. So I guess everybody that lives in a car would be a person without housing too. Immigrant, person who has immigrated, non-citizen. Person, again, they want you to use the definition of the word instead of the word. No. You're a fucking immigrant. In fact, that's in the fucking law papers. Are they going to change our entire constitution? Are they going to change our entire book of laws with all of this shit? Yes. Prisoner. Person who was incarcerated. Again, using the definition for the word. Prostitute. Person who engages in sex work. I got a better one. Ho! It's short and sweet. And it's still a person that engages in sex work. How ridiculous. Violent. Here's violent language. Abusive relationship. Don't use abusive relationship. Use relationship with an abusive person. The relationship doesn't commit abuse. The person does. So it's important to make that clear, that fact clear. Usually in an abusive relationship, if it has to be moderated at any time, both people end up being abusive. So, beating a dead horse. This was one of the ones somebody else mentioned. Refusing to let something go. This expression normalizes violence against animals. And it's like she said, aren't horses dead already? You're actually abusing. Oh my God, you're hurting that dead horse that can't feel anything. That's gone. That's no longer. There's a dead horse. And no, if somebody doesn't want to let something go that somebody hasn't been appropriated for or whatever like that, then no, I wouldn't let things go. I wouldn't let things go at all. You gotta hold people responsible. Don't let shit go. Crack the whip. Consider using double down, work harder, or come down hard. Again, that's another one I don't see anybody using anymore. It's usually busting skulls or slave driver maybe. Go off the reservation. Disagree with the group, defect from the group, go rogue, not think of or function properly. That sounds more like an independent thing to me. And again, go off the reservation. How many do any of you guys that are listening to me right now hear any of this stuff in any of the groups that you hang out with? I don't. I haven't heard any of this stuff except for from some of the older politicians. Joe Biden uses phrases like this. My great-grandmother used to use phrases like this. My great-grandfather, and I did know them both, used to use phrases like this. This is... Oh, is that right? Kevin says, I'll tell you what, the ghetto is about to become pretty fucking oppressed with this list because you'll hear a lot of this speech in the projects. Oh, okay. If that's the truth, it's making a little bit more sense to me now because, you know, these people, these wokies are always talking about how oppressed that sector is and how they have to, you know, they can't get their own identifications and they don't know how to vote and they don't know how to use the internet and they don't know how to use this and that and the other thing. So I get it. If that's the case, then I get it now. It's just one more feather, if you would, in their cap of bigotry. More than one way to skin a cat. Or killing it or killed it. Don't use that. Doing a great job, did a great job. All right, that's actually Generation Z and millennial slang. More than one way to skin a cat. Multiple ways to accomplish the task. Pull the trigger. Give it a try or give it a go. Rule of thumb. Standard rule, general rule. Although no written record exists today, this phrase is attributed to an old British law that allowed men to beat their wives with sticks no wider than their thumb. So, how long ago was that? Rule of thumb now goes by, oh, okay, well, you know, boiling water is hot. That's usually the rule of thumb. Oh. Take a shot at, take your best shot at, take a stab at. Go, give it a go or give it a try. These terms represent the unnecessary use of imagery of hurting someone or something. No. Trigger warning. Now, this is something that they came up with, 5-6 years ago, that you had to put in all the books and you had to put in front of all the movies and everything like that might have a bad word in it or that might have an old idea in it or something like that. Now they're changing it to content note. That's another thing. These people are never happy. You change it to one thing and you let them change it, and all of a sudden that's not good enough anymore. They got to change it again and again and again and again. And each time you let them change it into something different, they got to do it again. And they know that they get away with it, so they're going to do it again. Whipped into shape, organized, put into order. This phrase has roots in punishment of enslaved people and getting them to follow the rules. Wife beater, t-shirt. Oh, man. Instead, use white rib tank top, tank undershirt. That's something I'm sure IT people use every day in their programming and all that stuff. This phrase trivializes domestic violence by associating with a piece of clothing. Shut up. Additional considerations. And they got 2 more pages. Black martial forces gathered together. This phrase suggests an impending attack on by the savages and should be avoided. Since when? Romani, if referring to a person of Romani descent, or cheat, if referring to someone who is dishonest. This term is derived from gypsy and relates to the stereotype that Romani people are swindlers. Weren't they? They lived by any means necessary. And a lot of their fortune telling and stuff like that was kind of a ruse. Not saying that they all were, but I was going to say, I never could figure out what was wrong with gypsy either until they started making it crazy, because I know several people in the music business here in Texas especially that have actually named themselves that. And they get shit for it. And it's like, well, wait. They named themselves that because they like that. It's good. It's a good thing to them. That's how they, so I never did get that either. They actually have portrayed some gypsies. In fact, Stephen King did it himself in Thinner. If you read that book, The Thinner, they were gypsies and they killed people. Uneducated or unsophisticated person, other than, don't use hick or hillbilly. Hillbilly, person from the Appalachian or Ozark regions of the United States. That's not the only places hillbillies come from. Or hicks either. Again, are they using this? This is the kind of language that they're using in their IT programs? Seriously? This is supposed to be for IT, remember? Hip hip hooray or hip hip hurrah. Just use hooray. This term was used by German citizens during the Holocaust as a rallying cry when they would hunt down Jewish citizens living in segregated neighborhoods. Really? I'd like to see the juice on that one. I'd like to see where that one actually came from. There's got to be. Notice something else on here too. There's no references. This is another thing that makes me think that they made this shit up as they were going along. Hold down the fort. Don't use hold down the fort. Use cover the roll. This phrase stems from settlers and soldiers resisting savages when on the warpath. Jude. Haggled down. Oh, okay. Don't Jew somebody down on the price. Haggle them down. Long time no see. Really? Consider using I haven't seen you in so long. I guess they're going to make people stop using contractions now, too. This phrase was originally used to mock indigenous people and Chinese who spoke pidgin English. Nah, bullshit. I heard that in all kinds of movies. That's a pop culture thing. No can do. Instead say, I can't do it. Originated from stereotypes that mock non-native English speakers. Well, I guess that's it for Hall & Oates' song, I Can't Go For That. No can do. The winter's wild, woo. That always makes me laugh. Oh, the Coon Dog Show. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for the donation. You get one of these. Oops, that's not it. That's it. So many buttons, so many buttons, so many buttons. Thank you, the Coon Dog Show. And, of course, that's one way to support the show while we were talking about it. Man, it's already 9 o'clock, and I didn't actually finish going through that. Although, the last two words were prostitute and submit. Submit. Process. Here, I'm going to process this to you so you can finish it. What can I tell you? Man, it took me 2 hours to go through all of that. I was going to say, if that took me that long to go through it, can you imagine the hours that they spent on actually doing this, on actually coming up with all of this stuff? Okay, yeah, 12/19 is when they submitted it, Stanford University. There's been a lot of articles about it and everything like that, but I wanted to go through all of these myself, and it was just as bad as I thought it would be, just as stupid too, and a lot of it sounds really badly made up. All right. I got to leave on a funny note. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got like 20 more tabs with all kinds of comedic stuff and everything that I wanted to show you guys. I really didn't realize it was going to take that long to go through this list of words. But again, remember this, because these are all words that you want to continue using and start using and just trigger everybody. Start tweeting these words, telling, and you can use the hashtag, what is it? Fuck Stanford University, or to hell with Stanford University, or whatever cool or catchy idiom you can hashtag them with about this, and just use these words because they're words. They can't tell you to take them away, and if they try to censor you with them, just tell them, hey man, First Amendment, because I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty sure most of these colleges now are funded by the government. So yeah. Do it. All right, one more thing, and I don't know, I was going to say, are you still here, Kevin? I know it's getting a little bit late for you, but I wanted to know if you knew about this. This tweet came across my feed today, and this is what tells me it's actually the pendulum is getting ready to swing the other way. Mentally ill men claiming to be women are inserting frozen tomato paste into themselves to mimic a period. I'm so sick of pretending that these people are normal. This is actually one of the questions that I did ask Kevin as a trans person, male to female, as far as that goes. With all of the shit that women actually do have to go through anatomically, from growing the tits to having the periods to the bloating to the having babies to the miscarriages to the menopause and all that other stuff. You notice that men don't have to go through any. What person in their right mind would choose to do all of that stuff? Now, don't get me wrong. I love being a woman. It's what it's what I was made to do. I've always been comfortable this way. Yada yada yada. As far as that goes, I'm a tomboy as far as that goes. I like doing men's stuff, and I know how to work on cars. Well, I used to before they put all that pollution crap on them. But I could never figure out why somebody that doesn't have these problems, doesn't menstruate every fucking month, because this stuff was inconvenient. And when we were in school, it was fucking embarrassing. I mean, if you leaked and you had white or yellow pants or light pants on, everybody in the class would laugh at you, including teachers. You know, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't a pleasant thing, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. You got this other guy out there, oh, I got the stomach cramps now that I've been on my first thing of hormones. Hormones don't do that to you. Not to mention the fact you don't have the organs to have fucking menstrual cramps and stuff like that. But they're literally now taking this stuff, and I was going to say, actually there's directions on here. Oh, okay. Greetings, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, it's me. I'm going to answer your questions.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah.
I'm going to answer your questions for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So these guys who think that they're having menstrual cramps, what that is their digestive tract is adjusting to the new hormones. And what it is that these guys need to take a shit. They're constantly. I'm not kidding you. Because it happened to me, too. I got these cramps. I was like, oh, my God, I think I'm having, oh, my God, this feels so awful. Well, it turns out that when you're going through the hormonal changes, you just get stomach cramps. That just comes with the territory. As far as, putting tomato paste inside of you, that's a death.
Yeah, had you heard about that?
No, that sounds like something an attention whore would do. That's somebody who's, fucked up in the head. Why the fuck would you put food... Do you know how much bacteria is in tomato paste?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to eat that stuff raw. You can actually get sick from that stuff because it actually comes out of you can get botulism from doing that shit if you don't cook it. Wow, these people are fucked up. Who would do that? And what do you do then? Do you go and show it to someone? Do you go and put freaking tomato paste? What in what? In the new? Where do you put it?
Well, according to this, let's see. Hello, ladies. Thinking of taking my monthly term cycle to the next level. I have regular monthly cycle every 28 days using pads and tampons. I was wondering what others do to mimic flow and discharge. Gross topics for some, I know. Let's see. I take several Correctol women's laxatives at the start of my period. This always leads to cramps, and you don't know exactly when they will occur. Sometimes they wake me up in the middle of the night.
You're taking several Correctol fucking laxatives. Yeah, you're going to get cramps. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go on.
Yeah, that's okay. I have also had accidents in my pad when I did not make it to the toilet fast enough to simulate the bloating. I drank lots of water. Keeps me heading to the toilet very frequently where I have the opportunity to change my protection. I use the Period Tracker Lite app on the iPhone. Let's see. Have used tomato juice, frozen cylindrical tubes as described above. Sometimes just squirt some ketchup packs from fast food place onto a pad for added sensation in panties. After Halloween, look for fake blood on discount whenever costumes are sold. So any way possible. And like I say, if they were actually women, they wouldn't need to do any of this.
I am standing in my kitchen with my jaw dropped listening to what you're saying. Holy fucking shit. These people are, that's fucking nuts. Laura, these people are fucking crazy. And retarded. A little retarded.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a little retarded.
I don't know how little that is. I would say that at least they're doing it to themselves, but at the same token, ew.
Where are they putting this out? Don't tell me they're putting this on TikTok.
Actually, I found this on Twitter.
Oh, for Pete's
In
sake.
fact, Salty even retweeted it right after I found
for
it.
Pete's sake. Oh, that's so... These people need help. These people... Hell, America and the nation and international. Wake up. Look at what's going on. This is nuts.
You want to hear the kicker?
Gross. What is the kicker?
The date on this picture of these sticks of tomato juice or whatever is January 1st, 2003. So somebody's been doing this for a long time.
Nasty. So nasty. Okay. Laura, I am glad to have been of service to you and to serve as a resource for your trans-related issues.
I'm so glad I have someone that can help us out with that.
Yeah,
This really is hard to understand in some cases, but when you boil it down, like I say, I like to keep things simple, but when you boil it down to it's actually a mental health issue, mental problem, then yeah, it makes sense. It's just
Did I hear you earlier? They're freezing tomato juice and putting it inside of them?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah, they're freezing tomato juice or tomato paste or whatever thing that's red. In fact, somebody used Gatorade, looks like here, ketchup.
Oh.
It almost from what I'm reading here, it almost seems like a fetish. Because they're using ketchup, they squirt some ketchup packs onto a pad for added sensation in the panties. In other words, that part doesn't come out of them. They just it's almost like they're masturbating with it.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, and then they're putting it out there for people's consumption, for people's eyes, to put that into their brains so they can know just how, oh, man. Wow, God. Oh, yeah, prayers, lots of prayers. Wow.
The ending comment says, so I agree with you. Experiencing my period is absolutely necessary for completing my femininity. Shame on you.
Yeah, I suppose if you want to smell like a freaking dirty cafeteria, sure, I guess. Oh.
That's what I want to know, Rougarou. Who has this extra time to set all this up and then do it during the workday? I do good to know. I do good when I get 2 meals a day out of us. You know, cooking and stuff and all the other stuff that I do. I do good if I can actually cook. And there's no way I would waste food like that. But yeah, I'm surprised. I was going to say, if you really followed these people, they probably ended up in the hospital with some kind of infection or some kind of, I mean, you know, can men get toxic shock?
You can get sepsis, and especially if you're shoving, okay, so let's imagine you're taking a frozen liquid, okay, and I assume they're putting it inside their body. Mm-hmm. That's going to cause micro tears, and then you're changing the pH of that area with, like, let's say tomato juice. So you're lowering the pH and you're raising the acid, and the tomato has enzymes in it, which is going to break down protein bonds. So your mucosal layer of your colon is going to start to deteriorate over time with every application of a tube of freaking frozen tomato juice that you're putting up there, which is setting up a whole slew of bacterial opportunities in your anus, which is already having feces pass through it. You're removing the protective mucosal layer, which is there to protect your body from said feces. So, yeah, you could get sepsis from doing that.
Yeah, I would think so, too, because, yeah, tomato sauce and tomato in general is very acidic.
Yeah, so it's ruining that whole protective layer of the lower colon to the anus. These people are, they're biologically, they're ignorant. They're biologically ignorant. They're physiologically ignorant. And they shouldn't be, no. No, these people need prayer. They need a lot of prayer. They need to wake up. They need Jesus. They need a lot of Jesus.
I agree.
Oh, well, PSA, don't do that. Everyone listening, don't stick food up your butt, please.
Or any other orifice except for your mouth. And then be careful about it, too.
Yeah, even then, don't choke, okay?
Will that show up on the anal COVID swab? Coondog wants to know.
Will it show up on an anal COVID swab? What doesn't show up on an anal COVID swab? I mean, that's the statement of the evening.
Yep. Yeah, the chat's actually going crazy right now. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's the content you brought forth as you were saying that you were going to be closing out your show. Wow, what a note to close the show on tonight, Laura.
I'm not quite finished. Actually, I was gonna. I'm actually got one thing to close on. I got 2 more things to talk about before I leave. The first one's gonna be my very first troll on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for 2 weeks and I've got me a troll. The reason why I think he's a troll is because he sounds like he's talking out both ends of his face. I'll tell you about it. That's my next topic.
You're gonna have to tell me about it because I can't get into Twitter because I fucked up Pastor Shadowlays in my account, and it looks like our account is lost now.
Oh no! Well, just make another one.
I feel like I have all these cell phones lying around, Laura. Anyway, what's the second thing you're doing?
Okay, my troll. Okay, I guess all of you have seen this one. This one's been out on Twitter for a couple of weeks now. This big fat lady that's rolling around on the stage with her legs in the air. I think it's family friendly entertainment. I'm not sure if this person is a drag queen or not. Here, I'll show it now. It was so loud. Whoa! All right, now, first of all, my 5-year-old was doing that. This is not talent. It is not talent at all. But I actually posted that, and I didn't answer to it. And this person named Monsieur Trudolph, which he's got his picture is Trudeau with with the play button right underneath his nose in the perfect spot and make him look like Adolf Hitler. And he goes, "Poofed, you gain 400 pounds and pull that shit off. I goddamn guarantee you ain't pulling it off. Why? Talent." So I told him, I said, "Well, show me how it's done, friend." Poofed. And he goes, he writes back and he says, let's see, where's the rest of it? He writes back and he says, this guy's literally telling me to gain 400 pounds, which tells me that he says, but you lack it as well, which means talent, which he doesn't know. He said, that's what I meant to say, damn it. Elon Musk, where's the damn edit button already? But he says, you can't do it. I lack the intense talent this sea whale has, but lack it as well. I lack it as well. So suck it. So I told him, I said, well, I lack the 400 pounds and I always will, but I do have talent, just not tumbling though. By the way, you can show me how to do that too. Suck it. So yeah, I love these trolls. Come on, bring on the trolls, because I'm a smart ass motherfucker.
I can attest this is true. Verified by some tranny out here in Minnesota. Truly, this is true. Yes.
So yeah, but I was gonna say the only folks that I know of that would actually opt to look at this. I don't know if you can see it on the screen.
I can't go back downstairs, otherwise there'll be too much noise. But go on.
Oh, okay. This chick rolling, she looks like she weighs about 500 pounds, and she's rolling and putting her legs in the air and spreading to where you can see inside the gap. And yeah, no. As I say, the only people I know that actually opt to see something like this are either OBGYNs or fat fetishists. And yes, they're out there.
Yes.
In fact, I've seen a couple of them where the man just keeps feeding the woman and sits her on his lap and likes to be smothered by her. So yeah, they do fetishize that stuff too. So, but yeah, this guy literally told me to gain 400 pounds, and then called this other person a whale. Which, like I say, that's what tells me that they're a troll. They're just looking for reaction. So I gave it to him.
Excellent.
All right, there is one good thing I wanted to end this on, and this is, well, actually one funny thing that I wanted to show everyone, and then one really, really good. I found this really awesome poem, which gives me a lot of hope for our future. So first, let me show you.
Can I go back downstairs so I can actually watch you? Which means I'm going to have to end the phone call. But
yes.
I want to go down. I want to see it too.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Thanks again for calling. Love you too, and thank you for being our trans guru.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
You have a great night.
You too.
Enjoy the show. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, let's see. Where did it go now? So I say I got 20 or 30 things here. I was going to go over some of the stuff that was my favorite, but I'll show you the new stuff that I found today. This is hilarious. This was actually, I saw this, I think I saw this on Zeducation today, but it was hilarious. And this guy's TikTok is hilarious. This guy's a comedian. He's a based comedian. I think he's in Australia though, because he's got an accent. I might be wrong though, but this is hilarious. And he makes fun of Americans. Watch this.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas. America is a nation that can...
The caption on that is trying to be deep during my Thanksgiving toast. That couldn't have been more perfect. That's hilarious. But he's got his TikTok is funny. Go and check him out. All right, let me see if I can find this. All right, one last thing before I end the show. This is Righteously Raging Rostosaurus Rex. She's a beautiful lady. I'm not real crazy about all the metal in her face, but who cares, whatever. This is an awesome poem. You guys will be really impressed. I followed her. You might want to follow her too. But she's very based. Watch this.
Who told you you could redefine the line between your sex and mine? Who told you you could get in my face and tell me I have no place? I'm from the streets. We don't play nice. We tell you to straight when you ain't right. I ain't got time for this beef about biology. I gotta worry about me and my family and how we're gonna eat. Bruv, you ain't like me. You come from the world above. But don't get me wrong, I will show you love if you know your place. And your place is far, far from my single-sex space. You say you're a woman because your feelings say so. Well, guess what? Your cock and balls, they show. Every time we say no and you rage and complain and try and switch up the game to make us feel shame. Well, that won't work with me. Because I don't give a shit about some man's fuckery. Come, let's go. I'll go toe to toe. I will not let this go. Oh, we'll take it to the streets with my sisters and me. And you will see how strong we can be in the space of tyranny that says a man is like me. You think I'm afraid of you? You must be mad. You don't know the kind of life I've had. Growing up as a girl, trying to dodge the hand of a dirty man as he reaches for me. Flip forward 20 years now, what do I see? That same dirty man saying he's the same as me. No fucking way. I will not let that stand. I am a woman and you are a scam. And I don't give a shit if I come across rude. Now let me list the things I won't do. I will not be silenced by your male pattern violence. I will not give up my rights just so I appear nice. I will not call a man she. I definitely will not be taking that knee. Now let me go before I get too deep and start cracking jokes about your size 14 feet and them big old hands and that hair on the cheek that says you're a man. Did I hurt your feelings by telling the truth? Well, guess what, bruv? From this position, I will not move.
Amen, sister. All right. Like I said, you might want to follow her. She's based as fuck, and she's all about the womanhood. Let women speak, adult, human, female. That's what I say. A lot of people, and she looks like a millennial. So, again, this shows me that there's hope for us yet. All right, I went way longer than I was going to with the words, but I think that was really important because of the fact, like I say, that's my shtick. The First Amendment, the freedom of speech. Don't let these people change all these definitions and all these words on you and everything like that. And yes, definitely call a spade a spade. If it is what it is what it is. You call it something different, it doesn't change it. It's just a lie at that point. All right, that's about it for me. Don't forget to support all the folks on the schedule, Rougarou schedule, interactive schedule, and be sure to head on over to the Rocky Show next, the White Pill over there on Odysee. Sorry I went over, but then again, I've got a pretty free show as far as that goes too. Like I say, I try not to go too much over, but if things come, or if people are calling me, or if things come up or anything like that, and I had way more than I needed to cover the show tonight, especially with the phone calls and everything like that. So let me know, you guys can contact me throughout the week if you want me to cover anything, if you want to know my opinions on anything, or if you have anything to show me. I am going to send a link to you, Kevin, for someone that I discovered that you might be interested in watching. Believe it or not, he's got over 1 million subscribers, and I didn't know about him until just the other day. And I didn't actually find out about him. I just found him myself. Nobody else had covered him, so I might actually start covering him. But he's a trans person, I think female to male, but they're actually even more commonsensical than Blair White, in my opinion. as far as that goes. So like I say, this is the trend. She asked me what I thought I'd be seeing, and I think this is the trend. People are starting to realize reality, especially when they get these non-reversible things that they've been lied to about, and things like that. So I think we're going to see some people actually straightening up a little bit and living a little bit more in reality. Thank God, or at least allowing those of us that do to live in our realities. All right. Make sure it's not something that's going to get me kicked off of YouTube, although I'm not really crazy about YouTube. I've lost another 4 subscribers for some dumb reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I don't post enough. I'm just once a week right now. That's the holidays and everything like that. I should be able to do some more videos and things over the next 2 months, because the entertainment is slowing down just a tad bit until springtime. So, but on that note, I appreciate all of you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the support. Don't forget all the ways that you can support me. I'm trying to give more and more options every day, and I do appreciate every dime goes right back into this particular venture that I'm doing, trying to make us grow. Make it grow and do other things. I've even gotten on Twitter, which I wouldn't have it, I guess, if it hadn't been for Elon Musk, but I took a little bit of peer pressure from the rest of you guys too. But I follow all you guys, and hopefully we can share things together on there. I've even gotten a troll so far, so yay. All right, don't forget to send me your clips and your commercials for my show or yours to start out the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday and a very, very Merry Christmas. Try to not party too hard for New Year's. Because you never know. They might try to pull some kind of a psyop on us, and it'd be the best thing to do to get everybody's attention, especially since we're all watching the ball drop somewhere. All right, all you, MAGA maniacs? Not even necessarily MAGA maniacs, just all you base maniacs out there. Thank you for joining me this week. Appreciate it. And I wish you all peace, love, health, and music to everyone. And until next time, AMF.